first E25 event went really well. I was so excited. I was just so afraid that people weren't going to show up and it was going to be a flop, and think that in some way it probably was a good thing that not everybody showed up, because if everybody had showed up, I would have gone bankrupt, So that's like a good thing in a way, I'm learning, obviously. My son is like, Mom, it's going to cost a lot of money to have people bowl. I said, well, I like bowling, so I wanted to. But anyways, we had a nice crowd and everybody was having a great time. And, they thanked me, right, left, and center for, the opportunity to get together, have fun with their families and everything. And I, gave little gifts to little kids because it was a lesson learned from somebody else on one of the calls, said that when they did their open house, some of the kids were crying, and I just didn't want any of the little kids, to be crying. So I gave little, toys to them. But I was under the impression, and I did get leads. And I know that now I'm going to be top of mind with people, which is great. And that, everybody's looking forward to, more of these events on monthly basis. Everybody was like really excited about doing it again next month somewhere else, So anyways, but I was under the impression that, people got the opportunity to win a prize, for the raffle, if they, had a house to sell or buy, and, they could enter it, as opposed to everybody could enter once, So anyways, I got a few stares, and I didn't know what to do exactly, but everybody was really nice about it. I kind of stopped after I said that, and everybody, clapped and thanked me, and they said they had a great time. So everything went well, but it was a little awkward moment there.
Nice. So if I'm hearing you right, you did your first E25 event. Yay.
Yes.
And you got some introductions from it, or no introductions yet?
No, one introduction is going to come from it.
Oh.
And yes, and out of, everybody who was there, 3 of them are going to buy, with me. Well, one of them is going to sell, 2 of them are going to buy. And so there should be more business coming from them, because, people who didn't have, anything, any introduction, maybe they're newer in town, but now that, I'm on top of mind, with them, and I've asked for the introductions, I think that they said definitely will, keep you in mind and, put you in touch with people.
Nice. Awesome. So how much new gross commission income potential do you think there is from this?
Okay, so I think that, these are, not going to be in that price range that I'm looking for. And that's my other, question. Like, one of them has a house that is probably, under 400. The other one is probably going to buy a house that is around 300. And the other one is really looking for a condo that's under 100. So, all of them together, 3, transactions would probably end up being 800. And I'm not quite sure, that that's what I want, but that's my, sphere of influence, my U25, right?
Yeah. So if I'm hearing you right, we're talking 22,000 of commission, and it cost you $1,500. So most entrepreneurs would say what?
Would say that's pretty good.
Yeah. That's like great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. I don't know too many other industries in the world out there where we can invest, I don't know, 5 hours a time bowling with people
Right.
to get that. And that's your first time. And I know this, Megan, on your sixth time you do it or your ninth time you do it, it's going to get easier. And it's going
Yes.
to just flow better. And you're
Right.
going to get more confident of mastering the aspect of like, hey, thank you, offer, ask. And
Right.
so, yay to
Yes.
do it.
Yep. Thank you. And I missed the other one. I think that there is another one, the introduction that is not out of the 800. I think they're gonna sell a $400,000 house, and they're probably gonna buy something similar to that. So it's actually gonna be more like 16, 1.6.
Oh, 1.6 million. So really we're talking like 40,000 give or take.
Yeah. And that's again, that's only just scratching the surface, right?
Yeah. It's incredible.
I
Yay.
know, it's exciting, and we had such a great time. I loved it. So,
Oh, yay. It beats cold calling FSBOs and expired.
oh my gosh, I hate that. I hate that. This is so much better. I think that, and you get to know people more, they have fun, and I did have the kids, but the good thing also about it was that, we did also offer wine and beer, to the adults. So it was a lot of fun. So next time I'm trying to get my son, he says he wants to be the grill man. He's like, we should have people at our house and do a cookout. I'm like, I don't want to cook. He goes, well, I do it. I like to do it. Like, I don't want people at my house yet. So we're, trying to get all of that figured out. But yeah, it's fun. I'm definitely going to keep doing it. I see the power in it. It's really powerful.
It is. Oh, I love it. Big virtual hug to Megan. Nice job doing your first one.
Thank you.
Sweet. Awesome. Who else has got something exciting they want to share? A lesson learned, a victory they had?
Jonathan, this is Kate. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Hello, Kate from Nashville.
Okay. This is a quick story. I had a buyer 2 months ago who was looking for a home in a condo community. There were none for sale. So I typed up a letter saying, I have a buyer who wants to purchase a home in this neighborhood. If you're thinking of selling, give me a call. She's ready to go, but she will work with you on timing to allow you time to find your next home. Got 3 calls, and one guy was getting ready to put his home on the market and already had a realtor lined up. So we just worked a price and put the home under contract, and she closed on that home last week. I got a call from yeah, but this is where it gets crazy, is I got a call from a landlord who said, I've got a condo there. Why don't you go take a look at it and let me know if you want to buy it? So me and my buyer were looking at 2 different homes. She ended up going with this other one, but I had gone over to look at this one with the renters in it. And I knock on the door, and the renters answer the door, and they say, what's going on? And I realized the landlord didn't fill them in that a realtor was going to be coming over to look at their house. So they thought they were getting evicted, and they were panicked. So I calmed them down. They're just a sweet young couple. I said, no, I'm just here to look at the property. Don't worry about anything. And, the buyer I had didn't want to purchase that home anyways. Those ended up calling me, and they said, Kate, you were so nice and kind to us and explaining all of our questions. And our landlord just could have pulled the rug out from under us. We decided we don't want to be rid of it anymore. So I had an IC with them, and they went under contract on a new home yesterday. From one letter, cost like $30.
Yay! Isn't that so cool to realize, like, all we got to do is be kind to people. And just realize, like, help and serve the people that want our help and our service. And so if I'm hearing you right, you sent this letter out saying, hey, I got this buyer that wants to buy in your neighborhood. And then you found one home for the buyer to buy. You found another potential seller saying, hey, we might want to sell. You found a buyer from that, and that buyer has already gone under contract with you. So it wasn't like a 7-month process. I mean, from the time you interacted with that buyer that said, yeah, we want to buy, to the time going under contract, how many days, weeks, or months was that? Oh, and it looks like you muted yourself, Kate.
Thanks. I had my first buyer consult in June. I mailed the letter at the end of June once we determined the neighborhood. I put her under, I got those 3 calls first week of July. I put her under contract at the end of July. Mid-July. And she closed mid-September. The renters called me at the beginning of September, and now they are under contract. So the whole thing was like 3 months.
Nice.
For the renters that called, they called me, probably early September, late July. And then here we are, less than 30 days later. I think we looked at 4 homes. It was unbelievable. And they're going to spend $330, and they're so kind, polite, and they just listen to what I suggest. And I think it's going to be a wonderful transaction.
Yay. Awesome.
Oh, I just saw somebody saying they want a copy of the letter. I'll post the PDF of the letter in the Facebook group today for anybody that wants it.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you, Kate. And I'm going to marking it down. I'll send you the letter I send out as well. When I have a buyer like this that, wants to buy in a certain area. I'm making a note of that. I'll put that out there as well too. With the letter I send out, I try and make it as personal and as heartfelt as possible. So for instance, instead of saying, hey, I got this buyer, they're looking in your neighborhood, call me, I make it a lot more personal. So if I was using a couple, I would say, gosh, I'm trying to think of a couple right now I'm working with. Okay, Judy and Claudio. So I'd be like, hey, Judy and Claudio want to buy in this neighborhood. They're a really cool couple. Judy is a school teacher, and she does work with like underprivileged kids. And Claudio, he's a policeman, and he works downtown San Diego. He's also on the K-9 unit, and so he trains the dogs. And then they have 3 kids with one on the way. And their one child is this name and into these interests. They have this child who's, this name and this old and this interest. And they have 1 dog. They do have a cat. Their oldest has a goldfish. And just really be open, right? Because the type of person that's going to read that letter and go like, yeah, we're thinking of selling, they're a bit more, they're a bit more growth mindset person than a fixed mindset person. A fixed mindset person is going to read that and go like, that's just a lie. They just want to list my house and they don't really have a buyer. A growth mindset person goes, oh my gosh, this is not a fib. Like, they're really going into detail. They're really going to bring this family by, and they're going to probably have 3 kids, and the mom's going to be pregnant, and he might even come on by with his K-9 dog. So awesome. Nice job, Kate. Cool. Anybody else got something to share? Victory they had, lesson learned?
Yeah, I have something. Can you hear me?
Yeah, fire away, Roxy.
Yeah. So my big focus recently, ever since the event, was just doing more ICs and really just focusing on getting to the IC. And so, and sending my U200 letters. So this is cool. I sent out my U200 letters, did my phone calls. This was 2 weeks ago. And I just called up a guy who's actually the head of my church small group that we meet with weekly. And I asked him, you know, if he knew anybody. He didn't. But 2 days later, he gives me a call and says, hey, this is crazy, but, you know, I've been wanting to move for a while. My wife hasn't wanted to. But the other night, we were sitting there, and she was like, hey, I think I'm ready to move. So let's go look at houses. So he said, so would you be willing to take us to look at houses? I said, yeah, let's do an IC. So we sat down and did an IC. Well, they send me the 3 houses they want to look at, and they're like $1.5, $1.6 million homes. We sit down last Tuesday morning for an IC. We go look at 3 homes. 2 days later, they look a second time at one of the homes. And on Friday, we executed a contract on a $1.55 million house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was crazy.
Yay to sending out your ultimate.
Yeah.
Can you, Jonathan, tell me how you differentiate between the Ultimate 25 and the 200?
Yeah, good question. But before you jump on that, just one, kudos, Ryan, for doing that. And kudos for making those phone calls, right? Because it's so important to send that letter out, but also to make that phone call. And I believe that's what happened here, right, Ryan? Like you called them and they were like, nah, we're all good. And then within days, they called you back going like, hey, let's do this.
Yeah, pretty much. They kind of keep their personal lives a little close to the chest. So I think he was hesitant to say anything until his wife got on board. But there was definitely a momentum, I think, they read my letter, they acknowledged that he had received my letter, then they received the phone call, and then 2 days later, he's calling me. And they were incredibly decisive. Like, it was crazy how fast that process happened.
Yeah, isn't that great? Oh, that's so cool. There's so many cool things about that, but it's like instead of like chasing people, which most realtors, oh my gosh. So I got to talk to maybe 20, 25 realtors in North Carolina, and I think they're addicted to just chasing leads, right? And it's kind of like, it's like, why are we interested in chasing leads? Why not just attract them? You know, right, Blake? Just like attract the people. And it's just so much more fun for us as realtors because we don't have to we're not coercing anybody to do anything. You know, it's just that they're ready to go and voila. Awesome. Okay, so I want to answer Megan's question, but anybody else got anything they want to share real quick?
I do.
All right, fire away.
Basically, I had my first open house this weekend. It was at 1.8 million, and we had about 4 families come through. So it was awesome. And actually, one of them, I'm meeting them hopefully this afternoon to show them some homes. So I'm very, very excited.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I was so nervous at first, and I mean, it was so funny because the listing agent was there when I first opened the home, and a family showed up, and you know, he wanted to show off, and he was like, "Here, let me show you how an open house is done." So I mean, he just went off and talked and talked and talked, and the person just walked away from him. It was so funny. I mean, it was really eye-opening to see that the less you talk, the more you attract.
Mm. Oh my gosh. Nice job, Ruth. I want to give you a big hug. Nice job.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm proud of you. You know what's really cool about that too, guys, is do you know where it's located?
Yeah, I'm just pissed about this insurance thing.
Yeah, so Ruth is in Houston, and a Houstonianite could be thinking right now, like, there's nobody out there. Like, everybody's worried about the flood. Nobody's going to buy a home until the year 2019. But Ruth has proved that wrong, right? There are people out there looking, right?
Yep.
People are gonna buy and sell always. Doesn't matter the time.
Nice. Awesome.